let us continue the story of the plagues. Hey guys, this is Ben coming at you from the dark basement. I'm here with Levi,
What's up?
and we're chilling.
Chilling.
And actually, surprisingly, not much. I didn't realize the furnace was actually going to keep this basement warm. I thought it was just going to be cold all the time.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, it's toasty down here. I mean, I know we complained about that before, but it is officially coming into fall, and it's a little chilly outside now. So we both are actually wearing jackets for the first time in a few months.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I went to Lagoon yesterday, which
Ooh.
was, for those who don't know, Lagoon is this little amusement park up north of Salt Lake. It's actually pretty good. I really, really enjoy going there. They're not the biggest or the fastest, but they have a lot of really quirky, unique roller coasters and rides and stuff that
I
just
love
kind of make it special.
I love the way you describe that, quirky and unique roller coasters.
Well, here's the thing. So roller coasters are like my thing. I love roller coasters.
I didn't know that about you.
Oh, I love roller coasters. They're like my dream job was to work and do the control systems for roller coasters.
Nice.
So like, have you been to Lagoon since you moved here? Have
I
you had
haven't.
a chance to?
I
Okay.
haven't. We plan on doing it next summer.
Okay. No, you need to go. It's a lot of fun. But like, so they have this one of my favorite rides there. There's it basically uses a rail gun to shoot you up to the top of the tower.
Huh.
It's like 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds.
Oh,
it's wicked fun. Name drop. Anyway, the roller coaster is called the Wicked.
Oh, nice.
Anyone that's not from Utah, which I think is the vast majority of our listeners,
Probably.
won't care. That's what happens when you try too hard for a joke. No one. Anyway,
I do have a lot of coworkers that listen to this podcast, which is pretty awesome.
that's actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, we have conversations about it, and I have one particular listener who likes to say that he's our number one Patreon subscriber, even though we don't have a Patreon.
I mean, honestly, if he just gives us like $8 a month for beer money, like I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
Like we said before, we're not paid for this. This is like more of a passion project, just
Yeah.
because we love metal and we love Jesus and we want to see him known.
Amen, amen.
Amen. So what's up? It's been a couple weeks,
Dude, it has.
So we'll get to the music because I know that's what's on your mind.
Oh,
You're so
yes, it
excited about it. So yeah, because you've been traveling. Then
Yeah.
I've been traveling because
Yeah.
I went to Canada a couple weeks ago. I don't know
Yeah.
if that was recent enough to warrant.
No, I think it was. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
we've been out for a couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure everybody's waiting with bated breath
To
for us to
continue
continue
on,
the
yeah.
plagues.
Yeah, so just traveling, just kind of hanging out. Sorry it's taking us so long, guys. We love you. You are our subscribers, and I get to be I don't have to be pedantic because none of you make this happen. So I can just be like, thank you for the support, but we don't need you.
Yeah. And that's weird to say. It's like,
I know.
because like there's so many podcasts out there that are like, oh, I need to do everything I can to like make my subscribers happy. And though we don't want to like dog our subscribers, we also are like funding this ourselves, so
Yeah,
we don't need to kiss anyone's feet.
no, we don't. And that's kind of the point, is I kind of want to make our subscribers uncomfortable a little bit.
Just a lot.
Just a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot uncomfortable.
Especially for those of you who have only had like a Sunday school knowledge of these stories. And, you know, when we talk about the blood, guts, and gore, I definitely want to make people uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, it's a good time.
It's
I enjoy it.
intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so what have you been listening to, Levi?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know you are.
So, As I Lay Dying has
Yes.
finally
Yes.
released their album.
Yes, so much yes.
Oh my gosh. So, I've been sick for the past few days,
Yeah,
and you could probably hear it in my voice. I'm probably going to crackle a lot,
Hey,
probably
me
going to
too.
cough in the corner a lot, and hacking up a bunch of phlegm
Hey, I
because I'm
did that
getting
in
over
like
it.
I think it was like episode 3. I was
Yeah.
you can hear me in the back just going.
Yeah.
I should be a metal singer.
Yeah. Totally. But yeah, so like and even right now I can't hear out my right ear. It's just plugged up completely.
Do you need me to turn up your headphones or?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I can actually hear myself pretty well, which is nice. It's nice for a change because I haven't been able to hear anything out that ear. But like I was listening to the whole album like cover to cover, and I have it blasting on my iPad because I can hardly hear. And what I could hear, I was just sitting there on the couch, just mentally banging my head because I couldn't actually bang my head because I had a headache. So like in my head, I'm just banging my head like the hardest I could, and it was just amazing.
That's okay. If you're thinking really hard about banging your head, that's all that matters.
I am mentally bang my head all the time.
Yeah. No, it's the new As I Lay Dying album is everything I ever wanted. It is so good.
Everything I ever hoped for.
It is so good. Like, I mean, part of it is like I liked My Own Grave because it was a stylistic departure from As I Lay Dying, so it's kind of helping me be more than that. And like the new album is predominantly like old As I Lay Dying, but you know what? That's not a bad thing.
It's
not.
That
As I Lay Dying was great.
I've been a fan for a long time,
so that's not a problem.
It's nice to hear the roots again. And dude, I just love the amount of like epic double bass in this album.
Yes.
Like not just intricate double bass where it's like it's just full on and it's just amazing. I'm like, yes, that's what I want.
Yeah, because I've noticed you like that's what kind of where we start to depart is you like the super fast, like almost like thrash metal kind of stuff where it's just like
yep,
like over, and then I like the super intricate like foot patterns and stuff that people do. So, but every once in a while, like when it gets into a breakdown, it just goes into straight 16s.
Straight, yes.
And I just like, yes.
Yeah, my buddy David in Minnesota, he and I are different in that regard too. He loves like when the double bass is like switched up and a little more intricate. I'm just very much give me just a flat like machine gun, and he hates blast beats. I love blast beats.
I don't like blast beats because they don't like make you head because they're just like fast. So it's like, but then there's something about like when it drops into, like again, My Own Grave. That last little bit at the very end where it's like, like it's that halftime China.
Yep.
On like the snare bomb.
Yeah.
Like that, just like you want to just like every time that snare hits, you just like break your neck because you're throwing your head down so hard. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Like that's the stuff I like because it makes you just want to punch something in the dick. Like I love it. I said that before that the quality of the breakdown is directly proportional to the size of the animal. It makes you want to go punch the dick.
We officially can't make this a clean episode anymore.
No, we can't. Sorry, I can take that out if you want.
It's okay. It's okay.
Pretty funny.
I feel like we need to have at least a few of those.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. So As I Lay Dying has been amazing.
Yeah.
I'm still rocking out to the Kill Switch album too.
It's good. I like it. You
Yeah.
know? Like it's not my jam, but there's a couple songs in there that I really, really like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Signal Fire.
Oh, you're still on Signal Fire?
I still get goosebumps every time Howie comes into that. Like, it's just such a good song, especially the beginning. Like, like just.
Yeah, like,
it's just so good.
That's the stuff I don't, because it's just that straight, like speed, double bass stuff.
Like there was a day I'm driving in my car and I had it playing and I literally like replayed the intro a few times just because it's so good.
Oh yeah.
It just kicks me right in the nuts.
Yeah,
a little bit.
So good.
It's just so good.
It feels so good.
Yeah, that feels
like
so
when
good.
It drops a gold brick on you.
Drops a gold brick on your.
So heavy. like a rock to the nads. Anyway.
Like a rock to the nads. Yep, not a clean episode anymore.
Not a clean episode anymore. Well, I mean, I think it was 2 episodes ago where I'm just taking every opportunity I could to use the word testicle. Because I can.
Got to do that every once in a while.
Yes. So, so Kill Switch Engage. The Kill Switch Engage, what was that song? I can't remember what it is. There's like, why is it called? It's something really long. Hold on. I'm going to find it.
Okay.
As Sure as the Sun Will Rise. It's a long title.
Yeah.
I love that song.
That's a good one.
It is. There's just the guitar parts because like I also play guitar. I play a lot more guitar than I do drums actually.
Mm-hmm.
And so so guitar is like when I listen to like a song with like a really awesome guitar part, they mesh really well with the rest of it. Like that always sticks out in my head. But I really like that, and it's also like I looked at the lyrics. I'm like, wow, this is actually really really encouraging. I found out I didn't know this, but Jesse Leach is actually a Christian.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a believer.
Oh, really?
Nuh-uh.
I've
So
known that for a while.
okay, so because all of his lyrics, I'm like sitting there, I'm like, wow, this actually makes me really happy.
Yeah.
Like I really like this. This is super great.
Yeah.
So new Killswitch album, new As I Lay Dying album. If you're in a dark place, those are pretty great.
Yeah.
Like, I highly recommend it.
They're
Anyway,
darn good. Darn good.
they're so good.
Cha.
Cha, bruh. Cha, bruh. So
Oh, man.
yeah.
Okay. I think we should get back into it.
I want to talk about what I've been listening to.
Oh, yeah. My bad. I'm such a douche.
You're so mean.
I am mean.
You're
Sorry.
so mean.
I'm just getting over being sick, and that makes my douchiness level go up way too high.
Because you're just like have a headache and you're like, why am I in a dark basement? It smells like natural gas down here because my furnace is running.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like we're gonna die any minute from exposure from natural gas.
Hey, it's okay. I have a carbon monoxide
Oh.
monitor.
Oh,
I don't know if it works, but
Okay.
I have one and that makes me feel better.
Well, nobody will ever know that we passed out and died.
It's like a seatbelt on an airplane. It's like I don't know if it'll actually make a difference, but it makes me feel better that I have one.
Okay, Ben,
Okay.
what have you been listening
Okay,
to?
so I make a point of trying to find new bands a lot because
You do.
I have hardcore ADD and I can't listen to the same thing over and over again.
Which makes
So-
you like so much different than me because I can stick to my same bands all the time.
I just can't do that. Like I mean,
yeah.
because I have my fallbacks like every day. Like there's a couple bands. So Phineas is one of them. Novelists, Intervals, are kind of like my standbys where it's like these are like my core bands that I listen to all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll usually at least every day like have one or two songs in the rotation that I'll listen to. But then but I'll just constantly be searching for new stuff, new content, new music to listen to. I ran across this band called Tethra, and they came out of nowhere. They started in March of this year, and they're just ridiculously good.
Wow, they're that new?
Yeah,
Wow.
like
I listened to that song you sent me last night. It was fire.
It was pretty good. That's like kind of like their more pop stuff, but they have some more stuff that's almost like straight up into tech death.
Oh man.
They kind of go all over the map. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
So, and they also did a cover of "A Thousand Miles" by Vanessa Carlton,
Ah.
where like the whole piano part is the lead guitarist like tapping.
Wonderful.
It's like it's actually really cool.
Oh man, I gotta hear
And
it.
then their vocalist is a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
Like
I
if you
looked
see
at him.
pictures, and he's just like this monster of a man.
Yeah.
Like
When I watched the video you sent me,
yeah.
and it just looks like every time he sings and says something, he's flexing, and he just can't help but flex.
That's just what he
Like
does.
the whole time, he's just flexing.
I mean, he's literally a muscle with vocal talent. Like that's just kind of what he is.
But I also feel like so many singers these days, like they just have to be ripped. Like that's just the
Right.
thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, like even the lead singer from ABR is like ripped.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he plays hockey, so
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a big chunky lad.
Plays hockey, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. I was looking it up. I was like, I've never heard of this band before, so I was like googling them and stuff, and then people were like, Hey, it's the newest thing in Swolecore.
In Swolecore? What is that?
I don't know. It's like metalcore, but then the lead singer looks like a meat hunk. Like I
Looks
don't
like a
know.
meathead.
That's like.
I didn't
Anyway,
know Swolecore
yeah.
was a thing.
Yeah, it's weird, but it was funny. Like so, that was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so new band Tethra, As I Lay Dying,
Yeah.
and Killswitch Engage
And Swolecore.
and Swolecore.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Let's get started.
Okay. Da plagues.
Da plagues.
All right.
4, 5, and 6. Because all right. So just as kind of a recap, 1 was the River of Blood.
The River of Blood.
So there is blood everywhere.
Arwer.
And then the next one was there's the Plague of Frogs, and then there were frogs everywhere.
Arwer.
And then there's the Plague of Gnats, and there were gnats everywhere.
Arwer.
I'm just bet you guys are starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah. Yeah. These plagues are normally Arwer.
Everywhere. Yeah.
But
But big ol' but.
starting this plague, they will not be Arwer.
There will not be everywhere.
There is a distinction that is now made.
Yes. So, but there is a very big reason as to why this distinction is made. So, the next plague is gnats. So that is in Egyptian, not Egyptian,
Plague of flies.
Egyptian 8,
No,
Exodus 8.
the next one is flies.
Flies, yeah. So flies. So go ahead and read the passage.
Okay.
I didn't copy paste it into my notes. I
Yep.
started doing that with the other 7.
For sure. Okay, so
Not
plague of
this
flies. We are still in Exodus 8.
Exodus 8. Okay.
Starting-
Exodus 8. Okay, cool.
Starting verse 20. It says, Then the Lord said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning and present yourself to Pharaoh as he goes out to the water, and say to him, Thus says the Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. Or else, if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies on you and your servants and your people, and into your houses. And the houses of the Egyptians shall be filled with swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they stand. But on that day I will set apart the land of Goshen, where my people dwell, so that no swarms of flies shall be there, that you may know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Bam.
Yes.
Mm.
So people are going to look at this and say, what's the difference between the gnats and the flies? It sounds like exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But,
But,
big ol' but, it was similar to the gnats, but the problem with the flies was it's widely considered to be a collection of flying insects, all of which bit, all of which caused disease, all of
Mhm.
which would eat your stuff. They like munch on your paper and your clothing, and they were everywhere.
were.
So imagine being covered in horse flies and big, nasty, big green bottle ones that would bite you and eat your clothes. And just basically, it's like never enough to kill you, but just cause you just unending discomfort and pain for days on end.
And I can't stand just one fly.
No, like, have you ever been bitten by a horsefly?
I have not.
Those
thankfully.
things hurt.
Do
like, yeah, like, because there's these big old guys, like, because, you know, like, just a modern black housefly, like, they, like, tickle you when they walk around
Uh-huh.
and they eat crap. So, like,
Yeah.
they're gross, but they're not dangerous at all. Like,
Mhm.
they're just kind of nasty. And then, like, but, like, horseflies are big. Like, the ones up in the mountains here, they're probably about 2 or 3 times the size of a standard housefly.
Oh,
And then
boy.
they'll just bite. They bite, and they're like, like last time I was bitten by a horsefly, like it swelled up, it started bleeding, and like it just they're nasty,
Oh
and
my
it
gosh.
hurts too. So yeah, and then just imagine being covered by those and being bitten by flies and beetles and having all of your scrolls and your clothes being eaten by flies. Like it's a gross picture. It's nasty, and that's one of the reasons why it's like God is starting to make this distinction between the land of Goshen and the land of Egypt, because God's like, because I would guess is because this covenant God made with Abraham, he couldn't in good faith put these plagues on the Israelites as well.
Yeah.
So
Like, the ones prior to this didn't really bring any harm, like physical harm.
no.
But at this point, physical harm has now started. There's official, like, physical harm that's coming to these plagues. And so this distinction takes that physical harm away from Israel and specifically puts it on the Egyptians. And we didn't mention this, but, like, the Egyptian god that this was officially against was Khepri?
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 Khepri.
Khepri. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a
Khepri.
Khepri.
Yeah. So he is the god of rebirth and creation,
Mhm.
which is really ironic because they're destroying everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Often
But-
depicted with the head of a fly.
The head of a fly.
Mm-hmm.
So God is like, and this is actually something like a lot of these earlier plagues were kind of talking about minor gods. And granted, this is with a grain of salt, because I know about 50% of what I know about the Egyptian gods from Age of Mythology. So like, so as far as I know, and historically they did their research. So you know, I'm not going to use it as my primary source,
Yeah,
but just
yeah.
take it with a grain of salt. That's where
Many grains.
I've heard this. Many
of
grains of salt.
pink
from Age of
Himalayan
Mythology.
salt.
Yeah, but like these big major gods are the ones that God saves for last. You know, he kind of
Yeah.
goes up the chain,
Up the
basically.
ladder.
Yeah. And so Khepri is kind of a more minor god, but we're starting to get to the point where like some of these major worship gods with temples dedicated to them and stuff
Yeah.
are being personally attacked by God.
And another thing, along with this distinction, the land of Goshen is actually only about 10 to 15 miles from the city of Ramses, where the pharaoh would live.
Right.
Which is approximately the same distance from your house to my house.
Yeah.
Like, 20 miles from your house to my house.
It's closer.
Yeah. So Goshen to Ramses is closer than
Yeah.
your house to my house here in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Like, so you
It's
can
like
imagine.
it's like here to like West Valley City.
Exactly.
Like it's not far.
Yeah, so you could see, the Israelites can see things in the distance. They can see what's happening in the distance. They can see these swarms of flies in the distance, And then this will be a continuing theme from here on out as this distinction's constantly made, is that Israel can witness all of these plagues happening to Egypt only from a very short distance.
Right.
Like just by looking over at the city of Ramses, oh, there's what's going on.
And it's like you would like if there were this many flies, you would see it. Like
Yeah.
there'd be like clouds, like
Yes.
writhing, nasty fly clouds
Mhm.
everywhere. That's just gross.
Yeah.
Just think. Oh, God, I don't want to be an Egyptian right now.
No,
No, I
no
do
freaking
not.
way.
No, I do not.
Nah, bruh.
So, but then, what is this doing to Pharaoh? What was Pharaoh's response to this?
Hmm. Oh, do you want to?
That's a legitimate question. You have your Bible open, so I figured it was.
Oh, well, I mean, if you're already going
I mean,
down that path,
I know what it is. But yeah. So anyway, okay, never mind. I'll stop being this
Do it.
cryptic.
Do
it. I'll do it. So Pharaoh. This is the first time you see Pharaoh try to bargain with God.
Uh-huh.
Because when it's just gross, it's but now all of a sudden he's getting bitten by flies. He's like, okay, this isn't fun anymore.
Yep.
But he still is trying to like be like, okay, it's like you can go, but leave your women, children, and livestock. Just take the men. I think it was this one, or maybe that was a later one.
Not be right to do so. The offering. Oh, hold on. And Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron and said, "Go sacrifice to your God within the land." But Moses said, "It would not be right to do so, for the offering we will sacrifice, will be an abomination, and all that stuff." So basically, he's not letting them go a 3 days journey into the wilderness. Right. He's saying, just stay where you're at.
Stay where you're at.
Just stay where you're at.
And
yeah.
And this is something that kind of came up. I was talking with my little brother about this last night because I was trying to bounce some ideas off him. Like, hey, what do you think about this? Like from a theology standpoint. But he was like, but something that came up was like God's bargaining with God. Or not God. Pharaoh's bargaining with God.
Yeah.
And you see this pattern emerge. And this is gonna again become apparent, but the reality was historically Pharaoh was the most powerful god in the Egyptian pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people worshipped him as a god. He believed he was a god. Like all of this was like very, very important because then Pharaoh's like, I can't be weaker than the god of the slave people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, surely I can at least bargain with God, because if you're bargaining with God, you're putting yourself on the same level. You're coming to the table and you guys are going to have a business transaction. That's not how God operates.
Yeah.
But Pharaoh's trying to be like, I'm just the same as you. Let's make a deal.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's this what you're seeing here, and Pharaoh continues to do this over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But this is the first time where he sees him. It's like instead of just outright refusal, now he's trying to do bargaining.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, oh hey, look, there's the furnace.
Hey, there it is.
I'm gonna have to cut that out. That's really annoying.
I mean, that's up to you.
Okay, I'll try to find it.
I mean, this is further proof that we are in a basement.
Yeah, we're not in like a professional studio. I mean, we're in a gross basement with like moving blankets
and a legit furnace behind us.
And a legit furnace right behind me.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, so you start to see like this pattern emerge of Pharaoh's. Like at first he says, "Oh, well, you can worship, but do it where you're at." He's desperately trying to hold on to this semblance of control over these people, because he can't. Like, I bet a lot of it might have just been straight up denial, because if he concedes defeat, then he knows that the God of the slave people is more powerful than he.
Yeah.
And he can't do that.
And like up until this point, it's reasonable for Pharaoh to believe, okay, I could believe that this God Yahweh of the slave people is more powerful than these other gods.
Lesser gods.
Yeah, these lesser gods, because essentially all other gods in the pantheon are lesser than the Pharaoh himself. And so, okay, if you're more powerful than Kefri, if you're more powerful than Nut or whatever, like it doesn't matter, because you're not more powerful than me.
Yeah.
And so I, as the most powerful god in this pantheon, am going to make a deal with you, kind of thing. And like you're right, like it's his way of trying to maintain control however he can.
Yeah. And it's almost like desperate denial, where he's like, surely I must be more powerful than this god, right? Like, and I'm wondering if it's like kind of starting to sink in, going like, you know what, maybe I'm not, And the thing is, like, you do have to understand, it's like this has been something he'd been raised to believe. Like,
Yeah.
because it's like he basically probably would have been groomed to be Pharaoh since birth. That's just kind of how royalty worked.
Yep.
And so like he would have believed from the very beginning that it's like I'm going to be God, basically.
Yeah.
So this is a hard coded belief that he has, and it's not something he's just going to easily be like, oh, I'm just going to turn around and fall and worship God, and that kind of factors into a lot of his interactions later. But like, just try to put yourself in his shoes and understand. It's like this isn't just something he can change his mind about right away, because this would have been something that he would not be able to just be like, oh, I guess I'm not God.
Yeah.
Like
the entire society of Egypt would crumble
right.
if Pharaoh himself submitted to this god.
Right.
And when he finally does, it did.
Mhm.
Like when we get there,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk more about Pharaoh specifically, but yeah, this is a huge detriment, not just to the land, but to the culture of Egypt as a whole. Their religion, their economical system, everything is just destroyed by these plagues. Like, it's so intense when you think of it that way.
Yeah, because it's so easy to just be like, oh, like God's not bullying this society. Like it's not just this situation of God like just going like, oh, look at all these people and I'm just, like did you ever play Pocket God?
No, no, I did.
phone?
I did once. It was like a very brief
It's hilarious
amount of
funny,
time. It was kind of funny.
but also it kind of bothered me a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, but like it's not God playing The Sims and he's just like God playing SimCity and calling it a tornado.
Yeah.
Like it's very much like a pointed attack on the Egyptians' belief system.
Yeah.
Because I think like, and this is something my little brother brought up, so props to Tim. Because God operates under the sphere of bringing people to him,
Mhm.
which may sound really weird, but in order to do that in this case, he had to tear down everything the Egyptians held dear. Nothing of that could remain.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm. Especially in those days, like people would gravitate towards the most powerful god. Like
Right.
the whole reason why the Egyptians stayed, to their pantheon as much as they did is because they believed that their gods were powerful. They believed that their pharaoh was powerful. But then, as you start to realize, and we'll get into this in a later episode, that faith in their pantheon begins to fade.
Yeah.
And it's a reality that they are now faced with.
Yeah, and that was intentional on God's part because he knew he couldn't just come in and be more powerful. Like he couldn't just come in and people would just follow him. He had to prove that he was more powerful
Exactly.
in the minds of the Egyptians. And it's like,
Yeah.
and not that was even particularly difficult for him because the other gods didn't exist.
Yeah.
So like, but it had to be in the minds of the Egyptians. They had to see every single one of their gods fall
Yeah.
to the God of the slave people in order for them to believe surely he is the real living God, right? So keep that in mind as we keep going because these are going to start sounding really, really abusey.
Mhm.
So, so yeah.
By the way, bringing up your brother, he is an amazing singer.
Did I ever show you?
Well,
his.
Here's the thing: when I was at your wedding recently,
Oh right, yeah.
and I heard, and you guys were doing your first dance, and there, he was singing.
Yeah.
I did not know he was singing until the end of the song. Seriously, I'm
Okay,
standing there thinking, "Oh man, this is a really good song," and thinking whoever's singing it is obviously a really great singer. I thought it was coming from like the speaker system, and then I look over, and there he is with a microphone singing into it, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's his brother?"
Yeah. No, it's always really fun. I get to brag on him a little bit because my brother is just an unbelievably talented
I
vocalist.
believe you now. Before I'm like, oh, you're biased. You're probably just being a good brother and saying he's good.
He's my little brother. It's my job to make fun of him and bully him and stuff like that.
Like,
but
high praise.
This is something I cannot
You
even
can't.
crap about.
You can't even bully him
I mean,
with it.
like the best I can do is I can call him Beyonce. Like,
Yeah.
even that's almost a compliment, right?
Yeah, for real. Like, he's an amazing singer.
Yeah.
Like, I witnessed that firsthand.
Yeah. So for context, I did Fly Me. Jay's favorite singer, my wife Jay, her favorite singer is Frank Sinatra. So we did for our first dance at our wedding, we did Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. And just for fun, just to keep it kind of like just have something to kind of remember it by, I had my little brother sing it for us.
Oh man.
And it was
good.
awesome. It was really awesome.
I
props
thought it
to
was
Tim.
Frank Sinatra.
I really appreciate that.
No joke. I
So
did
I know
not.
he's listening.
Michelle will tell you, I did not realize it was not Frank Sinatra until I looked over and actually saw him singing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. He's a anyway. So basically, that being said, we're gonna try to see if we can get him on like some Howard Jones covers.
That would be cool.
That would
I'm
actually,
down.
because he's not a big black man. He's a tall beanpole of a white man, but he sings real good. So
Good.
okay.
If he could do my Howie proud.
I wanna write some intro music with like some soaring power metal vocals,
Yeah.
and I know he can do it.
That'd be amazing.
Like he's got like when he wants to throw some of that edge into his voice and get like some gravelly soaring overtone.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Does he
Anyway,
listen to the podcast?
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
So we
Cool.
basically just heap praise on my little brother for
Shout out, bruh.
performance.
Shout out.
Shout out to bruh. Also, you're an idiot. Anyway, had to throw that in there. Okay.
You had to.
I'm required by law
You're contracted as a brother.
as
to
an
do it.
older brother specifically.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay,
next
next
one is the plague of pestilence.
Ah ha ha.
Ooh. So I'll go ahead and read this one because you read the last one.
Do it.
So, and then the Lord saith to Moses, the Lord said to Moses, go to Pharaoh and say to him, this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, the God of the slave people, says.
Mm-hmm.
Let my people go, so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go and continue to hold them back, the hand of the Lord will bring a terrible plague on your livestock in the field, on your horses, donkeys, and camels, and your cattle, sheep, and goats. But the Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and that of Egypt, so that no animal belonging to the Israelites will die.
Mhm.
So, and then the Lord gave him a time frame and said, tomorrow the Lord will do this.
Mm-hmm.
And Pharaoh said no. And the next day the Lord did it. All the livestock of the Egyptians died, but not one animal belonging to the Israelites died.
Yep.
So, and Pharaoh investigated and found that not even one of the animals of the Israelites had died. Yet his heart was unyielding, and he would not let the people go.
Yeah, that's interesting. He investigated it. He
Mhm.
looked into it.
Mhm.
Like, this was one of those, okay, like, are you really just going to kill all of my livestock and none of theirs? Like, how's that going to happen?
Right.
Like, that's, I'd imagine it's pretty hard to kill livestock in general. Like,
Yeah, I mean, especially all of them.
yeah,
Kill all the livestock.
yeah. And, like, whatever can kill livestock on that grand of a scale must affect livestock that's barely 10 to 15 miles away.
Right.
And
It's like,
so,
I mean, yeah, because if you had something like that, like a disease,
yeah.
like I don't know. I grew up in a farm town-ish kind of, but like I know nothing about animal husbandry, so I'm not going to comment on that. But
Mhm.
but yeah, like surely it's like, wait, in case if all my livestock died, shouldn't your livestock have caught the same disease? And like,
Yep.
and back then, I'm sure that they also like it was a lot more free-rangey type stuff. So like,
Yeah.
the livestock would have intermixed, I bet, and like maybe I don't know. I'm just kind of grasping at straws here, but
Mhm.
um.
As long as they're not plastic straws.
As long as they're not plastic straws. You're from California. Shut up.
Hey, I went to a coffee shop this morning here in Utah that gave me a paper straw.
Yeah,
See? It's
paper
right there.
straw. No,
Paper
me and
straw.
Jay bought silicone straws for our smoothies.
We have metal straws. Save the turtles.
Well, you're cool. Yeah.
Metal straws, bruh.
Okay.
Yep. That way turtles can get metal straws up their nose. What? Just kidding. I'm not that heartless. Speaking of turtles, though, I follow this Instagram page called Nature is Metal and another one called Nature is Gnarly.
Oh, I follow a couple subreddits that are
I love those just because basically the whole like point of it is to show how animal on animal like interaction is just so metal.
They're basically just eating each other. Like it's
Yeah.
always. I saw this one of a shark that like jumped up and ate like a seabird out of the air.
Yeah.
You're just like, whoa! It's
Yeah.
like people. I think people definitely have a very flower child view of nature. They're like,
Yes.
oh, it's so pretty and peaceful, and I'm like, no.
No, it's a
It's
lot
not.
of death.
People like animals murder
They full on kill each other
all the
and
time.
eat each other all the time. So shout out to Nature is Metal and Nature is Gnarly.
Nature's.
Look them up on Instagram. I follow both of them and it's amazing.
You're funny when you're sick. It's hard to keep you focused.
I know.
You're like me.
I know.
I'm like that all the time though, because I'm just kind of like, ooh, pretty.
But I kind of like it because I'm just having fun. And
I know.
It's nice.
I'm enjoying it.
I
It's
am a little
nice.
drugged up right now.
Yeah.
So
NyQuil fueled podcast.
Dayquil fueled podcast.
Oh, they're
Is-
not wired to be.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway.
so the Egyptian god dude that this plague was against, his name is Hathor,
Mhm.
which sounds like heifer. It's kind of funny.
Sounds like Heather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like heifer, cow,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
You ever watched Rocko's Modern Life?
No.
Never mind.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. there was a cow character on there called Heifer.
Oh wow.
It
It
was,
sounds like something out of BoJack Horseman.
it was Nickelodeon, actually.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Anyway.
so Hathor is actually a female goddess. Goddess depicted with the head of a cow, and is the goddess of love and protection. And you can imagine there's no love or protection to be seen in this plague.
Well, not only that, but there's this sad irony that God protected the livestock of the Egyptians.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like it almost feels like it's like God's like both fingers in the air, just like Hathor, I am more powerful. Like again,
Just a double bang.
your goddess cannot protect you.
Yep.
I love that phrase. It's
Uh-huh.
like because God is like, these are my people. You do not mess with me.
Yes.
And this time he warned Pharaoh. He's like, I'll do this tomorrow if you don't let me go. And Pharaoh's like, nah.
Nah.
So Pharaoh, God's like, okay.
Double bird.
He doesn't mind playing hardball
No,
at all.
not at all.
So because I mean, Pharaoh's playing hardball. He's like, I'm gonna enslave your people. And God's like, well, I'm gonna murder everything you know and love.
Mm-hmm.
So
And like this time, like there was no interaction between Moses and Pharaoh. Like
Yeah.
just Pharaoh automatically just rejected it. Like
yeah.
Moses didn't appear before him. Just Pharaoh caught wind of it and
Well,
was like, whatever.
The Lord did say, it's like here, it's like go to Pharaoh and say to him. So I'm sure that's part of it's implied.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Moses went to go see him.
yeah. True. So like he did see him, but like there was no like bargaining. It was just flat out nah.
Yeah,
Nope.
like to the point where Moses didn't even put it in. Like it was just obviously Pharaoh was just no.
Yeah.
Like at this point, he's actually getting really sick of it.
Yeah.
Moses showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually he does threaten his life.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
Okay. Yes. So now Pharaoh's is starting to get really. This is starting to get pretty intense.
Mhm.
So next plague, is boils. The plague of boils.
Boils.
So this is actually one where we're starting to get to a fairly major god. The goddess, this one is Isis, the goddess, Egyptian goddess of medicine and peace, who actually was a very major goddess. I think she had a couple temples dedicated to her, kind of like Athena.
Yeah.
In Greek. No, Athena's the god of war.
Athena's not the god of war.
Is it Athena? I don't remember. There's an allegory to a Greek god though. Maybe it's Aphrodite. I don't remember. No, Aphrodite's goddess of love. Whatever.
I can't remember my Greek mythology right now. Anyway, so
I know. I'm trying to Age of Mythology. Come on, buddy. Like I can't remember everything off the top of my head. No. That being said, I am 90% sure that Isis was a fairly major goddess. In the Egyptian pantheon. Like we're getting to almost like Queen of the Gods status. I don't know if it was quite that bad. I'm probably gonna do some research and we'll go on the next episode and I'll probably retract that statement.
But like Isis was like, it's like the goddess of health, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Like she was like, the health and wellness and well-being of the Egyptians was all determined based on Isis. And if Isis were to be defeated in any specific situation, that means the health of the Egyptians is at risk.
Right.
And so obviously this specific plague was poking its head at that. And so here, let's go ahead and read it. It's actually a fairly short text. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Take handfuls of soot from the kiln and let Moses throw them in the air in the sight of Pharaoh. It shall become fine dust over all the land of Egypt and become boils breaking out in sores on man and beast throughout all the land of Egypt." So they took soot from the kiln and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses threw it in the air, and it became boils breaking out in sores on man and beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils came upon the magicians, upon all of the Egyptians. But the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not listen to them, as the Lord had spoken to Moses. So, interesting part here. The magicians could not stand before Pharaoh. The reason why that is because when you are sick or sickly or have a sickness upon you, you are now ritually unclean in Egyptian culture. And to be in the sight of Pharaoh, you have to be ritually clean because he's considered a god. To be in the service of any god in the pantheon, including Pharaoh himself, you needed to be ritually clean. And at that point, pretty much all of his servants were ritually unclean, and arguably, Pharaoh himself. Like,
Yeah, like Pharaoh himself made this. This is actually one of those questions. Like, was Pharaoh afflicted by the boils? Because I don't know if God would be like not afflicting him, or if he did afflict him with the boils.
it doesn't. I don't think it says.
I don't know if it says, but it's an interesting thought because it's like if God is, this is the first time also that I think this is a really important thing to note that God says, or that the text says, and the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. He is now the subject of an action by the Lord.
Yeah.
And this brings up a really interesting talking point, and it's probably something that's going to be over the next couple of episodes that we're going to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think also me and Levi do not agree on this issue.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be a conclusion. We're not going to come at from a theological standpoint of saying, hey, this is the consensus. This is what we believe. But I think it's very much going to be like, hey, here's a good launching pad. If you're interested, look into it. Ask those questions. And that's the reality is God wants us to ask these hard questions.
Yeah.
God's
not afraid of these hard questions.
Like, that's one of the things I think that a lot of Christians do very, very wrong is they just kind of, shut up and believe. Just have faith.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, faith is good, but faith doesn't make up for bad theology.
Yeah.
To some degree.
No, you're totally right.
I think that God wants us. It's like, and that's one of the things, like if there's something that bugs you about a person, you go talk to them about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is this about you? It's like, and usually that like when you know this thing, like this really hard thing about someone that at the surface is like, wow, this person's a huge dick. But in reality, it's like, if you meet them, it's like, maybe they're very guarded because they have like all these other issues. And that's not a perfect parallel with what the way it is with God. But if you look at God's actions and take them at face value,
Mm-hmm.
You'll get a very twisted picture of God.
Yeah. So I think we should probably, let's tackle that in a specific episode.
Okay. Like what?
So I mean, we could decide more about this off audio, but maybe sometime in between the last plague or even after,
Mm-hmm.
and we could just address the specific thing of because I feel like up until now we've kind of glossed over it because there have been mentions.
No, this is the first time it's mentioned explicitly.
I
think so.
I'm
I'm 90% sure.
I would argue against that.
Okay.
But that's something we can tackle.
Okay.
But
yeah.
So
yeah, good talking point. But it's like, why did the Lord harden Pharaoh's heart?
Mm-hmm.
And what does this say about the character of God? And either what does it say about the character of God, or what's actually going on here?
Mm-hmm.
That actually fits within what. Because I would never say I understand fully the character of God, because that would be extremely arrogant. But
word.
But the way I said is at face value, this seems to fly in the face of some of the central tenets of who God says He is in the New Testament, right? So, and of the Old Testament. If God is a God of love and mercy, as David proclaims in the Psalms and in Lamentations and stuff like that, how is this part of that? And anyway, and so yeah, so
and I love that talking point, and I think that could lead us into a lot of other episodes too, right, of other specific incidents of I guess that whole thing of the character of God and His specific actions and all that, the Canaanite genocides, for example.
That's been on our list for a while.
Yeah,
but I still don't know how we're gonna address that.
I'm getting an idea.
Yeah,
and maybe you and I should have a meeting on it. But
yeah, that's one of the. I think we're gonna have several meetings over coffee somewhere before we actually record on it
for realsies.
So I'm planning those out. But anyway.
But yeah, so did we mention the god that this is against?
This is the Nut.
Nut,
the Egyptian goddess of the sky.
Nut.
Yeah.
Oh, Nut.
We're going with Nut.
Nut?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Nut was funnier.
It is, but it makes me uncomfortable.
Okay, Nut.
We're going with Nut.
Okay, Nut. Sorry, I'm still drugged up.
And I'm a terrible person, but whatever.
So,
we'll leave that for another time. God is good. That's all I'll say.
God is good all the time. And so, okay, we brought up how the magicians were ritually unclean before Pharaoh. And yeah, we We don't really know if this specifically like attacked Pharaoh. It doesn't say. I mean, it says upon all man and beast, and so like I would assume, but at the same time, like I don't entirely know.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. We don't want to get into Plague 7 yet. That's next episode.
No, we won't. I'm still talking about the boils.
Oh, we are still talking. Wait, we were talking about Newt.
Oh,
I'm.
Wait.
Wow.
Oh, is Isis of the boils?
Isis is boils.
Isis is boils. Yeah,
Right.
Never
Newt
mind.
is the Egyptian. That's the next plague.
that's right. Oh,
We're
okay.
reading it. He's reading ahead in my notes.
Oh
Wow.
man, I'm such a jerk. Such a jerk. Okay,
Yeah. No,
Then-
but the boils. So we talked. So okay, sorry. Anyway, so we're still on boils.
duh boils.
Duh boils.
Duh bears.
The bears.
Good old Chris Farley joke for you. May you rest in peace. Man. Yeah, so I don't really know if it like specifically happened to Pharaoh, but like I would assume so. Like I don't see it didn't say that it didn't specifically afflict him.
Well, it just it makes me wonder because if Pharaoh, I mean, surely Pharaoh had gotten sick before,
Yeah.
I guess, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's um. Yeah,
I wonder if the audio picked that up.
it probably did. Anyway, we're definitely in a basement.
Yeah.
So it would be odd to me where it's like if Pharaoh's this god, right? And then everyone, well, I mean, no one would be around him, would they? Because they're like, I am unclean, I can't be seen in the sight of Pharaoh. And
Yeah.
maybe they just didn't know, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It just like I think that like Egyptian society would have crumbled if they saw Pharaoh afflicted by these boils, right?
Yeah.
Like that would kind of start to erode the faith, and maybe he was, and it was starting to erode. It's like maybe
Oh,
Pharaoh
yeah.
isn't this god.
Oh
you know?
yeah. And as we'll see in like the next episode, like eventually the faith of the Egyptians in Pharaoh is starting to wane,
Right.
like by a lot.
I know, and that's why it's important. It's like, and there's no biblical evidence, I guess, to back up the theory that all of these were targeted attacks on Egyptian gods. I do want to get that out of the way. However, that is the most plausible explanation for all
Yeah.
this.
I mean, many great theologians and thinkers before us have made these correlations, and we are just standing on their backs.
Right, and we're doing this because it's like, look, this is the one of the only things that makes sense, because otherwise it just looks like God bullying this nation, right?
Yeah, just for fun.
But it's like, no, but he's making a pointed attack against their gods,
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, our gods will protect us, and he goes, no, they can't.
no, they can't.
No, they can't.
No, they can't, boy.
No, they can't, boy. Boy. Oh, yeah. So
Well, cool. Hey, I think we should cut it off here.
I think this is
And-
definitely this is the third. So those are the three plagues. We're starting to kind of get into like this. Like, I'm just kind of curious. I want to know what you guys think. This is the first time I'm gonna call out and
Yeah.
request a response. Like, hit us up on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. Let us know what you guys think. Why did God harden Pharaoh's heart? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what you guys think, and maybe we can, like, when we get to that episode, we can kind of like unpack some of those responses and be like,
Mhm.
yeah, like this is what people think. This is kind of the consensus, but also at the same time, like, like we have to take into account it's like theology isn't a democracy. It's not like, oh, 5 of us agree, so therefore this is the way it is.
Yeah.
No, each
yeah.
of this is a battle we have to fight with our own and pray for God for wisdom
Yeah.
to open our eyes for it. So,
Because even though Ben and I will disagree on this subject, we
Right.
can both still be wrong.
you know, maybe neither of us are right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more than two potential explanations
Yeah.
for
As
this,
much as
so
we both hope and pray that we understand, we probably don't.
we probably don't.
Yeah.
Like, and this is something that my little, again, shout out to little brother, he brought up, is like, there's this duality of God that I don't think we really understand, is like that he's both fully God and fully man, fully wrath and fully merciful.
Mm-hmm.
And there's almost these bizarre juxtapositions of comparing God with two seemingly completely mutually exclusive parts of him that he is both at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
God, we can't, like, there's a lot of reality that there are some things in our human mind that we cannot understand.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can do is, you know, like some of these things, like if we look at God, if we are made in God's own image, and God does have, I firmly believe that God does have human characteristics that we can look at and say, if God is both fully wrath but fully merciful, and wrath is not just cruelty, wrath is judgment, wrath
Mhm.
is punishment for not for actual legitimate wrongdoing.
Yeah.
You know? but God is full. It's not. But you never. The one comparison that there's never God is not fully good and fully evil. God is fully good.
Mm-hmm.
Do not to the point where the definition of good is what God wants for us. Like
Yeah.
so that's kind of the one thing I would draw the line there is like God is fully good. So if God is fully good, kind of wrestle with things in that framework, and if you believe that God was fully good, there is wisdom there. So and there is something there that'll like it's like yes, God is fully good and this looks evil, but it was for His glory ultimately.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
anyway, cool. So I am Ben,
I'm Levi.
and let us know. Hit us up.
Yep.
It'll be fun.
We'll
So,
put out a message on all the
all the plats,
the platforms, and
social meds.
yeah, see who wants to interact, and we'd love to hear your interaction.
Yeah.
Hear what you guys have to say
Yeah.
about it.
And again, if you guys have anything, we're more than happy to just kind of talk too. So I'll probably set up for the nerdier types, like a subreddit, and honestly probably a Discord server too.
Do it.
So anyway, cool.
right.
Yeah, hit us up if you guys want to talk. Let us know. This is Ben again.
And this is Levi again.
And we're very sick, and
Yep.
we're happy to talk with you. All right. Have a good one.
Bye.